today we have Janalene. She is a 2022 graduate, I believe winter 2022, of the ACM program. And right now she's actually interning in Australia for Common, one of their largest event companies. So let me go ahead and invite her in to join us. Thank you so much for joining us late tonight. Let us know what you guys were doing, what you guys plan to do. Oh, perfect. That was so fast. I have to tell people, especially because we kind of prefaced it the last time with Anella, and that like we couldn't get a practice, and then for us it just was so easy. We were able to sign on so fast, and then you just popped up on my screen, so I'm glad. Maybe the connection is like super strong in Australia. Is it?
I heard that the Wi-Fi sucks, so
oh, never mind.
But,
oh, I'm so glad. Well, we'll see, you know, throughout this thing. But I'm so glad that you could join us. I think that you are the furthest alumni to join us on this Talkin story. So I'm really excited to hear more from you about the experience that you're having right now, but also just like what it's like out there, you know, for someone that's are you born and raised here? Sorry, I don't want to assume.
Yes.
Yeah,
I was born and raised
perfect.
in Oahu.
Okay, see, we want to know those kinds of things, you know, and it's really inspirational for our students, right? So like I mentioned at the top, we really like to know what they want to know. And so hopefully we can share those kinds of tips and stuff with them tonight. So I gave a little bit of an intro of you, and we'll get into more of the details of your college and career experience. But I start all of these off the same way because I'm just curious, nosy, I don't know. I just like to know, you know, especially as an ACM you know, graduate and somebody who works in media. I mean, when I was a kid, I wanted to direct music videos because I totally thought that was a job. I don't know if anybody remembers Making the Video. I think it was on MTV. I used to love that show. And then, you know, I ended up making videos for social media. So you see, I love to see that bridge. What about for you when you were growing up? What did you want to be?
So originally, I wanted to be a singer. So I grew up in a family that loves to karaoke. We're all Filipinos, right? And I did everything in like the performing arts type of bubble. So I did singing. I played the piano for a little bit. I was dancing. I did a little bit of acting. So I really wanted to get somewhere into that like performing arts bubble. And then when I was in middle school, I joined the media program, which I think they changed the name, but then it was WizKids. Oh. But yeah, so I got the media program. We did some competitions on the mainland, and then we just like made videos on the side during school. And I realized how much fun it is to be on the back end rather than being on the stage. So from then on, I would kind of just focused on, you know, just the back end of the industry.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's so cool. You know, you're not the first person who's told us they wanted to be a musician. And I also just want to say that that is also another creative form of art, you know, and expressing yourself. So, I mean, I think that's so interesting. And I mean, I want to know, do you still sing and play any instruments?
Yes,
you're going to sing for us? No.
No.
By myself.
I mean, no. I tried like playing piano, or I lost all of it.
Shoot.
I don't remember anything.
It's okay, you know, maybe we can get it back, you know, if you want to do a different practice or learn something new, you know. I mean, I always like to preface that, like I mentioned, because I like to see where that, you know, where that creative spark came from, where that love for art or whatever you ended up going into for the ACM program. So why don't we just dive in? Why did you choose the ACM program, and particularly at UH West Oahu?
So when I first went to UH West Oahu, I can't remember if ACM was on its own, or when I joined, it was the humanities and then it was creative media. So I don't think it had its own degree yet. But then
Charlotte will let us know in the comments.
Yes, please. Charlotte, let us know. And then I can't remember. It was like 2019, right before COVID happened. I realized that I want to focus more on to creative media, and then I took like a little deep dive into what the humanities have and then what the ACM has, and I really liked the ACM's version rather than the humanities. So that's why I joined ACM, and I thought it was great. It was fun.
What was your favorite class when you were going to school?
That's a good question. If I'm completely honest, I don't really remember because half of it was online for COVID. My favorite probably had to be animation and photography. Yeah. Those were my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, I like to ask because I really like to remember. I mean, it's kind of like a walk down memory lane for both of us. We can kind of go back and think about, you know, the best classes that we were in, the most challenging. I wonder for you, what, if you remember, what assignment that you did are you most proud of?
Most proud of, definitely the senior project.
Everyone
I thought it was really
says
fun.
that. Tell us
Because
about
it's
yours.
so fun. So I did 2 separate things in my senior project. So I have the art installation that's still hanging. And then I have like a little social media page kind of to talk about, what was I talking about? Cultural artifacts and basically just like things that resonate with the locals. So I talked about Matsumoto shave-ice because that's a really big thing in our culture. The bangles, the what are they called?
Like Hawaiian bracelets?
Yes,
yeah.
The heritage bracelets. So I went over there and interviewed them, and honestly, it didn't even feel like an interview when I was editing it. I was like, oh God, I'm talking to them as if it's I'm their niece or nephew. Yeah. So I was like, oh God, why am I talking? I gotta edit my voice out now. But I thought it was just so fun interviewing them because I get to learn about them on a deeper end, but also kind of how that artifact resonates with their life. So it was really nice, and it made me appreciate Oahu even more. So yeah, that was my favorite. Yeah. I definitely miss home now.
Oh, I know. Okay, we'll get to that, you know, the move and the transition, because I think we can learn a lot about that for your experience, especially for, you know, all of our students who are watching that, you know, really want to aspire to move away, and kind of that in itself in its own challenge. But before we get there, can you give us just a quick overview of what your project is and where people, you said it was at ACM, so where can we find it?
So it is on the bottom level, right where the stairs are. You go to the left and it's right like near the vending machines in that little hallway. So it's hanging up. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 blue hand-dyed frames with each like metal working on it. Those were, gosh, such a pain to work with. My fingers are still hurting just thinking about it. So there's that. And then my Instagram was, oh gosh, what is it called? What?
You can drop it in the chat later. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Or you can go to the building. There's a little QR code there. You scan it, and then it'll take you right to the page.
Yeah, look, Charlotte said it's amazing. And it is. So, I mean, I love this correlation, and we'll probably, oh yeah, local connections. Is that why you're most proud of it? I mean, not only now looking back, but, you know, through the process.
Yeah. Honestly, when I just think back on it, I just think about the people that I interviewed. I really wish that I did more. Trust me, I was busting out those emails left and right, but you know, people have their own lives, their own work lives to work with, so I understand. But those 4, there's 3 on there, but there was originally 4, but I messed up on the audio for some reason because it was a Zoom call. But yeah, they just really stuck with me, and I really enjoyed talking with them.
That means, I love that. I love when, you know, senior projects are not only impactful for, you know, your grade and your like academic career, but also for yourself and your own personal growth, so that you can understand like where you want to go next, you know?
Right.
I love that. I mean, that kind of, I mean, I don't know if this is a spoiler, and I want to preface this for people who don't know. A lot of the times when we're talking to alumni, we've never met before.
Yeah.
This is our first conversation. So, I mean, I, you know, you send over a bio, and I kind of, you know, do a little bit of research, but I'm wondering if this, you know, senior project, this installation actually ties into the internship that you have now. But We'll get there. We'll get there. This is also just a reminder for everyone watching. If you have any questions, as she's sharing, of course, I have questions, but we want to hear from you. So make sure you drop them in the comments. Circling back to just your college experience, I mean, I'm glad that you told us about something that you're really proud of, but I wonder for you, and you might say it's the pandemic, but what was the biggest challenge for you as you were going through college? It can be academic or, personal.
If we're talking about the most challenging assignment, definitely the senior project prep, where you have to type that really long essay. Charlotte, don't listen. I really didn't like it at all. I think it was just because I was procrastinating really hard. So within that last 3 weeks of the semester, I had such a little time from the first draft to the last draft. And Charlotte, oh gosh, it's left my mind. But it was just, I remember staying up every single night just to finish it. That was probably not my favorite assignment, but I'm very glad that it's over and that I was able to do the research. And then, I think pandemic was pretty hard just because I like being in the classroom, kind of being surrounded by other people as well. Plus the new building opened up during that time, so I really wanted to go in, but I couldn't. And kind of just transitioning from high school to college, just because you have a little bit more freedom, and then you kind of you have just a little bit more freedom, and you think you can do anything, and then you see those consequences happening, and I'm just like, okay, this is real now. I'm paying it with my money.
Well, that tracks with what you were sharing about doing that, research paper before you actually dove into your project. Because, I mean, going into college, having all that freedom also requires discipline,
Right.
And
Yes.
to kick that procrastination. Any tips for our students who might be struggling to wrap up? I mean, I think we're heading into spring break soon. I don't know, Charlotte, you can let us know. But any advice for our students who might be procrastinating on their assignments right now?
Just do it.
Just suck it up and do it.
Yeah, just start. The hardest part is starting. Just start it. If it's in the back of your mind, put it in the front of your head. Just do it.
Yeah.
I think, And then as well, putting some time, or have a timer. And then once that goes off, take a little break and then get back into it fresh and all that. Yeah. Don't overwhelm
I love
yourself.
that tip. Yeah, for sure. I think they call it eat the frog, just do that worst. Oh, I swear I didn't make it up, but somebody Google it for us. But it's you do the first and the hardest thing on your list so that you can just get it out of the way. Because I think, procrastination is really just pushing it off because you're scared to start. But like you said, just start.
Right, exactly. That's the hardest part.
I also like what you said about setting a timer, Pomodoro method.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. I do that now even at work. I'll do a 30 minutes, and then I'll take a 5 minutes to walk around, pet my cat,
Yeah, you feel refreshed right afterwards. It's so good. I love it.
I'm glad you could share those tips for us because, especially all of our seniors who are going to be graduating, right, at the end of May, early June, they're probably right in it with their senior projects. And I know that a lot of them struggle with, just sticking to it. We've heard tips from other alumni that, you should pick something that you're going to be interested in because, you're going to have to hold on to this for however many semesters. Any tips for our seniors who are working on their senior project right now?
Just keep going. And like you said, just hopefully you chose a topic that you're really passionate about because it makes it a lot more fun. I can't remember what I was thinking during my senior project. I was just worried about not graduating. I kind of put that on the back burner as well.
That should motivate you, right?
Yeah. Put a little fear in your life.
Right. Oh, that's such a good one. I did senior practicum, so I mean, I just had to do it, right? Because I was literally working towards it. But I mean, I think even that, we hear a lot about if you want to do a project versus an internship, Charla or any of the students watching can let us know if they're working on anything, and we can, chime in with anything that we might know, right now. But I do want to circle back to what you were saying about transitioning, right? Because those are huge transitions, right? Transitioning into college, right? All that freedom, transitioning into, everybody going online. I mean, I'm going to tell, I was obviously out of school when the pandemic happened. I was already working, but students, you guys are built different. If you had to go to school, during the pandemic, that's a lot. That's
Crazy
a lot of
time.
transitions.
Yeah.
I know. And then, what we'll get to in a little bit about you moving out there, so many. Any advice for handling that kind of change and transition and kind of needing to have that kind of flexibility when you're going through major things?
I think the biggest thing that helped me through that time is just having that person to kind of be your rock and kind of to vent out to, and to just, if you have those kind of frustrations, it's better to have somebody or like a group of safe people that you can share your difficulties and all that, and they'll also help you. They're probably feeling the same way, and they'll probably appreciate your presence as well. But yeah, just not feeling alone and being surrounded by loving people. I think that's a good
That is
thing that
so,
helped me.
no, that is so nice. That's something I learned through the pandemic. Me and my friends
For
got
sure.
so much closer. Did you have a good circle of friends to really rely
Yes.
on during that?
Yes, yeah, definitely. We were talking every day. Yeah, just because you can't see them, it makes you want to see them even more, right? So,
Yeah. And then transitioning again, right? Coming back in person. I was just on campus. I think it was on Wednesday or Thursday. Charlotte, you remind me. Um, but seeing students again, hanging out at the tables. I mean, it's so nice because, guys, this is a beautiful building. We should be hanging out, doing
and they have
stuff.
a new cafe.
Oh my gosh. I know, it's so cute under there.
Oh, I'm jealous.
I didn't get to grab a coffee, but I was talking to somebody there and they said they try to grab one all the time, instead of going to Starbucks. And I said, yeah, that's so nice. What a convenience. But I mean, I feel like every time we talk about the building, that the students now might not get it. They'll be like, why do they talk about the building like that?
Yeah.
And it's because we never had it, okay? So that's why we love it so much. I mean, I'm glad that you could kind of recap for us, your college experience. And I know that it's unique for everyone, so I'm glad we got to glean a little bit from you. But I mean, tell us, 2022, it's 2024, you're in Australia. What was it like, the job market or the internship market after you graduated? And, how did you kind of navigate that?
So right after I graduated, I took a little trip kind of to just like congratulate myself, treated myself.
Oh yes, love that.
Yeah, and then when I got back, I was offered a position that I also entered at, which is like right across from UH West Oahu, at Hawaii Tokai. They offered me a position there. Yeah. Yep, shout out. They offered me a position as an admin assistant. So I was working with Japanese students for a little bit, and it was going to be short term. I was supposed to be there for only 3 months. I ended up being there for 6 months because I just loved it so much, but it wasn't technically within the creative industry that I wanted. So just out of the blue, while I was taking the Japanese students out for a field trip, they had a bit of free time. I kind of looked on my phone, and then I found the Artbound Initiative, which is kind of where I found my internship. And I really wanted to come to Australia. I wanted to actually study in Australia, but because COVID happened. So I thought it was a perfect opportunity to kind of inch my way in there, and I'll get to know more about the companies, the big companies that are there, make some friends while I'm at it. So that's how I got into this internship, actually. But yeah.
Wow. Tell us more about that Artbound internship, and also why Australia for you? Like, is that somewhere you always wanted to go or be when you were growing up?
Not growing up, but I did visit once, and I just fell in love with the place. It's so much like Hawaii. The people are amazing. The food, there's so many places you can go with so much different cuisines. And I feel like the best thing about Melbourne is that there's always something to do. I always want to find something that's like really entertaining because I kind of lose interest pretty quickly. But yeah, just like the artistic side, kind of just seeing the new exhibitions that are out, the art that are there, the Aboriginal art. It's just amazing. I love it there.
And the
Here.
Yeah, here, there, where you are, right. And more about the Artbound internship.
Oh, yes. Sorry. So with that, so what happens is that you'll be put through a kind of curriculum, kind of like school. So, but it's very, very simple and it's very easy to manage. There's 10 levels. You'll do kind of like a mock interview prep. They'll prep you up for your portfolio as well, which is something that I struggled even during college. Yeah, they'll have someone to kind of coach you at every step of the way, which was amazing. Another coach to talk about your career steps and opportunities. Yeah, and then while you're doing that, they're searching for internships at other places. So besides Australia, there's one in Melbourne if you want to go there. I believe there's one in Hong Kong. And then on the mainland, there's New York, LA, Chicago. Yeah, take a look at their website. It's pretty amazing. When I first saw it, I kind of thought it was sketchy, but yeah, here I am.
But you said, let me look it up.
Yeah. Let me do a little research.
Okay, so I just want to clarify the timeline. So you graduated 2022.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2023. You're working at Tokai. You're looking for, something to do. You find it, Google it. I always tell the people who watch our live streams, like, Google exists. Like, if you got big dreams, just Google it, figure out a way to make it work. But anyway, so I'm glad that also happened for you and you found this. So was the Artbound internship a connection to the job that you have now at Common, or is that the internship?
That's the internship.
Okay.
Yeah, so currently
and you started
I'm on my internship.
Okay.
I started about 2 weeks ago.
So you're fresh.
On my 3rd week. Yeah, I'm really fresh.
Okay, I mean, I want to learn more about what you're doing now, but I do want to talk about your transition. I mean, you're fresh. You just started 2 weeks ago. Did you just move 2 weeks ago? And tell us about that.
I moved January 2022. I left Hawaii 21st, and then I came here on the 22nd. Yeah, and then just since then, I'm kind of just gone around the city. I've been here a couple of times, so I was pretty confident kind of navigating. But this is the first time where I'm actually kind of, instead of a holiday vacation type of looking around, I'm looking around at like as a worker, I guess you could say. So that transition.
Well, as a resident, as somebody who lives there, yeah.
So that was pretty crazy. Yeah.
I want to know more about those feelings, I want to know because, our students might, be aspiring to move off the island and maybe to the continent and maybe even, internationally like you did. I want to know more about how you prepared to do that. I mean, I know there's a lot of adrenaline that goes into it because you're like super excited, right, to start something new. But what kind of like logistical or, just those kinds of things, if you have any tips for any of our students who are looking to, fly away and explore all the opportunities that might be elsewhere?
So actually, I knew from like a young age that I wanted to move off the island. I thought I would be going to the mainland, but as I grew older, I decided, like, you know what? I only have one life. I'm gonna go overseas.
Dream big, you said, yeah.
Yes. If it wasn't Australia, I would have gone to Japan. But yeah, so I already had that excitement going in. Like a month before I flew off, I was definitely excited, also a bit worried, but just like you said, all the adrenaline is there. Just pumped to kind of start the career portion of my life, a different chapter of my life. And then once I got here, I'm still on that high and I'm like, I love it. I'm here for 4 months. This will be great. And then the next week afterwards, I was like, wow, I really miss my family and I miss home. My mom and dad were like, text me where you're going. Make sure that you always have contact. And I'm like, yes, of course. And then I get here and they don't even call me at all. I'm the one that's calling them, and I'm like, I miss you guys. Let me see you guys. And they're like, okay. I send a picture, and they're like, okay.
They like thumbs up. Like,
yeah, and I'm like, okay, guys, thanks. I guess I'm the only one missing y'all.
Aw, that's funny. Well, no, I mean, we like to know those kinds of things, right? Because I mean, like we talked about earlier, those big transitions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like how to navigate them, because it can be both, right? It can be like, someone said, we do call you. Who's this?
My sister. No, she does not. I call most of the time.
She's like, don't talk about it. Not you shading our parents on Instagram
no,
Live.
I love them.
I mean, like I said, it's really about navigating those transitions. And I mean, especially for our students who are going to be graduating and, you know, want to know, you know, she's saying, no, I call you. For all of our students who are, you know, trying to figure out what's next, it's a big step, right?
Sure.
But also, like, you dream big, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You can do anything, really, you know? Especially if you take whatever you learned from not just ACM program, but just from the college experience and how to be able to pivot like that. I think that's something that we talked about in our last alumni talk.
And just piggyback off of that, I mean, you'll always have hardships no matter where you're going. No matter if it's like you're staying in Hawaii, starting a new job, you're gonna get those feelings where you're going to be afraid, of course. But for me, at least, it's more like thinking in the future. If it's something that I want to be proud of, something I know that'll make me happy, I think that should, you know, it's just the small fear that you have to jump over. So that's kind of what helps me as well when I transition. It's just something that I really want to be proud of at the end of my life. And look back at.
Yeah, for sure. Because at the end of it, like, yeah, it might have been hard. Yeah, you might have been crying because you missed your family. I was there. Trust me. I would cry by myself in my dorm, just feel like I want to go home so bad. But at the end of the day, right, like, you're going to look back at your life and be like, dang, I'm so glad I did that. That's such a cool thing. That's something that makes me proud.
That's what I don't want. I don't want any regrets.
Oh, I love that. I just want to plug for people, we're about halfway through. So if you have questions, you want to know about anything particular, advice for anything in particular, please drop them in the comments, or you can use that Q&A function and we can see it on our side too. So I kind of want to go into more about what you do now and how that ties into, or how you use the things that you've learned in ACM to the career or the role that you have now. So tell us a little bit more about Common and what you do.
Yeah. So currently I am a marketing intern, definitely different from my degree. So I was a creative media major focusing on design and media. With the Artbound Initiative, I did want to look towards a design internship, but I thought that marketing would also be very fun. And then when I got Common's interview, I really liked the position. I really love the people now, and they're amazing. Currently, we are working on 3 big expos. So one is going to be in a few weeks, actually, in Sydney. It's the Australian Tattoo Expo. For that, I'm working on like a little PDF of downloadable fine line tattoos. It's a lot of research. Thankfully, there's a lot of design portion in it, so it makes it very fun as well. But in terms of like the workplace, they're super casual and they're so welcoming. I was definitely nervous the first time I visited them, but they made me feel at home pretty fast. Yeah, so currently I'm just working on that PDF, doing a lot of marketing research, demographics, stuff like that, especially because those expos are in different parts of Australia. There's different targets in there. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing currently.
That sounds so cool. I mean, I'm glad that you mentioned at the top that, like, you know, it might not be directly related, but that's something that we've gone over, you know, with our students a lot, is that ACM doesn't just teach you like those hard skills of video production, photography, you know, whatever your track is, but it also teaches you those soft skills. Anything that you learned, you know, not just in ACM, but through college, it could be a soft skill, you know, it could be just talking to people, you know, that really works for your role in marketing now. I will say Anela came on the last time and she like doubled she had like a dual degree
Mhm.
in business and marketing because,
Love that.
guys, it just works out.
Yeah.
Tell us about how you use those kinds of soft skills in your marketing role.
So I feel like heavily during college, being able to branch out with other people and collaborating with others, I think that was super, super helpful. And it's also very fun, which is something that I enjoy. I use those skills during my marketing internship right now. So currently don't have a lot of responsibility, but if they were to ask me to kind of reach out to other people, I'm not really that afraid to do so. Um, but yeah, I really love seeing how each team works with each other. They just kind of go up and they're like, hey, can you work on this with me? You have 5 minutes. It's very collaborative. I love the atmosphere there.
That's nice. That is definitely a skill that I think, you know, when you list it on your resume, like team player, like it might not seem
Mhm.
important, but no matter what industry you're working in, no matter what company you work at, you're going to have to know how to get along with people, how to collaborate. Any tips for our students who might have a hard time, you know, especially um, after the pandemic when you get so used to like not having
Right,
to talk to people maybe
right,
and like
right.
only staying home?
Mm-hmm.
Any advice for our students who might have a little hard time working, not just working with others, but you know, being able to connect and kind of create that collaborative environment that is kind of necessary for creative
Mm-hmm.
work?
I find that, or I think that I'm super, super shy. I don't really like doing anything that, which is funny because I wanted to be a singer in the performing arts
Right,
and
right.
all that kind of thing. I don't like being in front of the camera right now. But I think my biggest advice would be, you know, these are people that you're going to be working with for a long time. You might as well put in the effort to kind of, you know, get to know them, make work or any project a lot more fun to work with. And that's just starting off with like, hey, how's your weekend? Or what are you doing today? Any plans? Stuff like that. Just small things to kind of open your show. Yeah, I definitely ask a lot of questions to the other people, even though if I know the answer, I just kind of want them to open up to me as well.
Mm.
And yeah.
No, I like that. I like that, you know, being open, asking questions and also being
Mm-hmm.
open to have that kind of dialogue. I think, you know, even for like something like this, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
we're talking to each other, this is the first time we're meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Every time it's a new thing. And every time, you know, we get better at talking to other people, learning
Right.
more about others. So, I mean, it really is like a muscle, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to open up to people and really be able to collaborate, especially, I mean, there are so many things and so many people, especially depending on, you know, the kind of work that you do that you're really going to have that skill. So I'm glad that you gave that
Mm-hmm.
little tidbit for our students. I want to ask you any advice. I mean, I want to know, like, crucially, if our students want to move, they want to do, you know, they want to start a new, you know, start a new journey for themselves somewhere else. Best tip for traveling and moving across, not just across the country, but across countries.
Ooh. um, you know, it's just having that mindset that like you really want to go for it. If it's something that you're passionate about and you really, really want to do it, definitely put the research into it. It's helpful if you have someone on the other end to kind of help you, um, you know, mix in with that different culture and help you, I guess, what is the word I'm looking for? Yeah, like mix in with the culture,
Mm-hmm.
with that different culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's a plus for sure, but at the end of the day, it's just kind of what you want to do. If this is something that you really want to do, put your 100% into it.
I love that you said research, you know, really understand the place that you're going to work,
Oh,
because that was something that I
yes.
was, well, not just the place that you're going to work, but the, you know, the place, like the country.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's something that I really wanted to ask you actually. How is like the creative landscape, the marketing landscape, the art landscape different in Australia than it is not just to Hawaii, but maybe even to the United States?
That's a good question.
I'm just curious for myself
Mhm.
because I'm wondering, I'm wondering if the same kind of trends and the same kinds of things that are really like popular here might also be popular in the work that you do there. What's everybody
Um,
into in Australia? No, or Melbourne,
okay.
where you are.
In Hawaii, a lot of the artwork, at least like the museums that we grew up with, it's always the same. And I mean, I still love going to it and seeing it. It's amazing work, of course. But just in Melbourne, I just love how there's so many influences from different ethnicities. It's very similar to
Hmm.
Hawaii. It's just at that bigger urban level. They also do like just um, exhibitions that come from other places. There's currently one called the Triennial, which is where they highlight artists from, I believe it's the previous year. I think that's what they told me. But it's basically that. There's a marshmallow laser fest where they have all these cool lights up. And every year that I come here, it's always something different. It's not the same. Like I said, I love it when there's different things just because
Mm-hmm.
it's just a little bit more
Yeah.
interesting. Not saying that Hawaii's boring, of course. I
No,
mean,
yeah,
I
yeah,
love,
yeah.
yeah, how the roots are and that we are very strong. We have strong ties with our past and our present. I just find it really refreshing
Yeah.
here in Australia.
I'm
Yeah.
glad that you said that. Because that's how I understood like what you were sharing. It's refreshing. There's
Mm-hmm.
something like really rejuvenating and interesting
Mm-hmm.
about experiencing new things, And that's
Mm-hmm.
definitely what we want to encourage our students to do, right? Is to really try to put themselves out there, look for those big opportunities and really just to dream big. I only have a couple of questions left. So I'm going to do one last plug for anybody. If you have questions, let us know. We're finishing up here. Um, for you, what is something that you wish people told you before you graduated or when you were graduating?
That's a good question.
I wish
Um,
people told me that I wouldn't have as much energy. Because I
ooh,
felt like I had a lot of energy in college because I was doing a lot, I was working a lot, so I was really just motivated to get that career experience. But I wish they told me that after college, it kind of just goes downhill. Now I just want to sleep all the time.
I mean, I've
Now I
wanted to
have like,
sleep
right,
forever
yeah,
since high school,
I only
but
have the capacity for one thing now.
one thing that someone told me in college to
Or
prepare me
you wish
for
that they
now.
told you, or you wish you knew
I feel like my
when you were.
parents prepped me like pretty well. They told me that like it's going to be hard. You're gonna probably start at the bottom, and you just have to work really hard once you get out there. Um,
That's so
maybe,
nice. Shout out to the
shout
parents.
out to mom and
If your sister's
dad. Love you.
still watching, tell her we said a nice thing.
um, yeah. So I really don't know what I think. Yeah,
It's okay.
I'm stumped. I'm
Yeah.
so stumped.
It's okay. No, no, no. It's okay. And also, let's all just remind everyone it's late. Oh, she said. I love when people have their like friends or their family in the comments because I mean it just helps us to know that like what you're sharing tracks, but also you have like a little fan.
My sister.
I know. I mean that's such a nice sentiment, right? To feel like you were prepared. And I mean, I think that is a lot of the reason why, maybe you felt empowered to be able to do things like that
Oh,
and
definitely.
be where you are,
Right. The support
So
from my family, from my friends, it's definitely pushed me to
yeah.
where I am.
I was gonna get to this question. Oh, number one fan. Who's that?
My
All,
best friend, love
all your
you.
fans. It's a Janalene fan club, apparently. Charlotte's getting to my questions a little bit earlier than me, but I'll ask them. Will you continue to stay in Melbourne or do you want to come back and find work here?
I definitely want to stay here. I knew from a young age, I love Hawaii. The senior project made me realize how much I love our people, our community. But I think it's just that adventurous feeling in me. Like I just want to go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, hopefully in the future I'll be given an opportunity to work here, and if so, then I would definitely jump to it. But if not, I'm totally open to kind of just coming back home, working a little bit there, and then finding my way back here.
I love that, finding your next adventure. I was going to say, what's next for you? Where do you see yourself? Where are you dreaming of yourself being in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, so hopefully I'm here living
right.
full-time,
We've established
full-time.
that. Yeah.
If not, if Melbourne is not in the cards for me, I'm totally open to going anywhere else. I've been looking at Japan, definitely. Going to London, maybe. Pretty much that, yeah. I just hope to be in the creative industry because I really love it, and I love the people. I
love that. No, yeah, I love that you're basing it off of where you want to be, like physically, for like where you're like adventurous side, like you said, and you know, but still in the creative industry, because I feel like you can learn so many different things, right? When you go to these different countries and understand what being creative and what creating means in those different spaces. She said international. Exactly, sister. Thank you. I love that. This is my last question. So last call for questions, guys. What's inspiring you right now? Where do you find inspiration to create, to design, for your job?
My inspiration, I guess, just going back to it, it's just when I'm older, kind of just looking back and thinking, yeah, that's something I did, I'm proud of it. I think that's the biggest motivation, or not motivation, sorry, inspiration that I have right now. Just always wanting to try new things, have no regrets. Definitely my family, my friends, those safe people that I have, they definitely inspire me to be where I'm at, because I know that they have my back no matter where I am or where I go. Yeah, that's my inspiration at this moment.
That is so nice. I love that we're getting so many. We have obviously all your supporters right here. One last question. When you coming back, apparently, from your sister?
I'm coming back.
TBD.
I'm not gonna leave you guys. I'm coming back. I'll say bye properly, and then I'll come back here.
Aw. I'm so glad we got to talk, because you really, I mean, you're inspiring, right? Sharing your experience of just putting yourself out there and going after the things that you want, you know, but also still feeling connected, you know, and we can tell that you're still so excited, and we'd love to hear more later on about how your internship went, and definitely checking in to see where you will be next. I feel like this will be very exciting. You'll be like our traveling alumni. I just want to thank you so much for coming on, and I want to thank everybody that's watching. Charlotte said, we appreciate you. And we totally do. I know. Thank you so much for coming on. I just want to do some last plugs. You know, if you didn't already follow us, you can follow the ACM account here up at the top. We do these every month, and our next one is going to be on March 28th. So stay tuned for that announcement. Yes. Also, if you're not already subscribed to the newsletter, please do that, because Charlotte said there will be some resources for scholarships and applications. So if you need that, follow, subscribe to the newsletter so that you can get that information, and just, you know, stay tuned with what's going on at ACM. Again, I want to say thank you so much to you, Janalene, for coming on and sharing your experience. And thank you to everybody watching, to the Janalene Fan Club in the comments. Thanks for hanging out with us so late. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.